Hi, I'm Pastor Charles Rogers with the Hope Community Church. You know, living here in the Tennessee Valley, one thing we know is that nothing that we have in this life is certain. In fact, we found out that life itself is not always certain. The only sure thing we do have is our relationship with Jesus Christ. I want to invite you and your entire family to come and worship with the Hope Community family as we seek that relationship with God together. Thank you.
Anybody sold out for the Lord today? Hallelujah!
I am sold out.
Judges chapter 7. Lord, I thank you. Did you get... I told Pastor Pitts, I don't need no towel. He went and got the towel. Beginning at verse number 1. Then Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, and all the people that were with him rose up early and pitched beside the well of Herod, so that the hosts of the Midianites were on the north side of them by the hill of Moreh in the valley. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into your hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, mine own hand hath saved me. Now therefore go to proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, whosoever is fearful and afraid, let him return and depart early from Mount Gilead. And there returned of the people 22,000, and there remained 10,000. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people are yet too many. Bring them down unto the water, and I will try them for thee there. And it shall be that of whom I say unto thee, this shall go with thee, the same shall go with thee. And whosoever I say unto thee, this shall not go with thee, the same shall not go. So he brought down the people into the water, and the Lord said unto Gideon, everyone that lappeth of the water with his tongue, as a dog lappeth, him shall thou set by himself. Likewise, everyone that bowed down upon his knees to drink. And the number of them that lappeth, putting their hand to their mouth, were 300 men. But all the rest of the people bowed down upon their knees to drink water. And look at what the Lord did. And the Lord said unto Gideon, by the 300 men that lappeth will I save you, and deliver the Midianites into thine hand. And let all the other people go every man into his place. And the church said, I want to preach a sermon this morning called You Better Come to Fight. God help me preach. I was 8 years old when Bebe Sashington, we called him Monkey Man, came to me to tell me that when school get out, he was going to get me. And I can remember being nervous because Monkey Man was a bully. He wasn't no big bully. We were about the same size. But the difference between him and me was that he was always in trouble. Didn't have any parents. And he had all these scars. I didn't say tattoos. He had scars. Because he was rough and he was always in a fight. And even though we were the same size, I didn't want to deal with him because I thought he didn't have anything to lose. So secretly I was nervous until finally I told Michael Brown, Michael Brown was a friend of mine, and I said, Michael, Monkey Man said he gonna get me when school get out. And I still remember what Michael said. He ain't gonna do nothing to you unless he first do it to me. You better come to fight. As children, everybody in our neighborhood knew it was good to have Michael on your side when you get in a fight. But as we grew older, the need for Michael was less prevalent because as adults, life brought us a different kind of fight. James Colt, in his book, Arrested Adulthood, said that maturity is something often confessed by everybody, but actually achieved by few. Many people who should be adults have avoided the responsibility of it and choose to still live like children. As a result, our society is disfigured and people often emerge from a prolonged youth into a vague and insecure adulthood. Here it is. We have too many people who are growing old and not growing up. They have the position of growing in life, but they fail to do the job of being mature in life. They talk the talk, but don't walk the walk. Today, people don't just fight to look youthful. They play the whole role. And many of them are still acting like youth. If you grew up like me, you would spend all day outside playing. And it felt like you would never come home as long as the sun was out. You'd play and play, but as soon as the sun started to disappear and the dust was present in the sky, you knew playtime was over and it was time to come in the house. And the problem with too many people today is you don't know when it's time to come in the house. I don't have a lot of time to stay here, but there is an unacceptable level of immature regression resulting in a people who don't know when it's time to come in the house. You've gotten old and there are people who are depending on you, but still they can't count on you. It's time to come in the house. And some of you know it's time to serve God, and all this time you have avoided God. But it's time for you to come in the house. Y'all mind if I go ahead and get in trouble? It is a tragedy in our communities because too many of our black men who ought to be taking care of somebody else are still satisfied with somebody taking care of them. You need to get in the house. And I know life ain't easy, and believe me, I feel your pain. And understand the challenge because nobody taught you everything you need to know. And instead of blessing you and teaching you, they rebuked you. But I can't feel sorry for you because somebody's depending on you. You trying to copy people who's copying other people instead of being yourself. One of the problems I have, and I love music, but I have problems sometimes with rap music. Because, and I get mad at them because they do too much bragging.
about what they got, and selfish, and showing out, and I'm better than you. And they making babies, but I don't hear a whole lot of rap songs about taking care of babies and getting married and feeding hungry folk and taking care of their parents. Somebody has to count on you. There are some things in life that you don't do just because they're easy, but you do them because somebody is depending on you. Our community is counting on you. This church is counting on you. And some of you have children who are counting on you. And I don't think it's fair for you to still be playing while some sister is raising your child alone. You think it's what she want to do, but can I tell you, if you would ask her, it's not her goal at all. Who you think want to get up at 4 in the morning and start getting ready to go to a job they don't like and put on a uniform they can't stand and have to pray every morning that the car ain't tripping, and then pray that God somehow stretch the gas so that the gas won't be tripping, and then making $8.15 an hour have to go in the job and hope their boss ain't tripping. Do I have any witnesses in here? Now you mad because you think that she's spending the money that you gave her on her. But can I be real in this place? Why don't you take $300 a month and see if you can live on it? Don't worry, I'm going to get in trouble today. It's only right that we understand that at some point in your life it's time to come out of the yard and quit playing. Thank God for the brothers and sisters who are there and fight. And I'm sick of black folk excuses about the reason why they don't fight. You don't have to marry her, but you ought to take care of what you've done and don't walk away. Do I have any witnesses in here? You may not have the money, but don't walk away. When we're told that 72% of our black children are raised in single parents households, and most of them started out in committed relationships with the father. But somewhere in the middle of all of that, it switched. And now you can't stand hearing her voice. You bothered every time she called, and you ain't got time. You used to have time. What happened to you that now you can't stand to hear her? Can I preach a little bit today? I can't blame the sister for being appalled and every time and angry because somebody who said that they'd be there don't show up. And you act like you always too busy, but you ain't too busy to play video games. I can't get nobody help. But you ain't too busy to ride up gas on the street all day long. And here you are wearing FUBUs and the baby can't get no diapers. I don't know who I'm preaching to today. And you've been drinking Patron and the baby ain't got no milk. I don't know how you eating that Roof Chris and they can't get McDonald's. You need to come out of the playground and get back in the game. Do I have anybody here? I don't know who I'm preaching. I'm glad I don't know who I'm preaching to, but I know you say that she's crazy, but I promise you she'd be less crazy if you brought that money on time and if you treat that baby like you treat your new boo. I bet you she wouldn't be as crazy. And sisters, please, can I talk to you a minute? But you need to grow up a little bit too, because too many of y'all hadn't figured out that you're mothers. You can't be no groupie or chicken head no more. You are a mother. I wish I had somebody here. You're a mother now. You can't play games with the baby over the baby daddy. It ain't your call. You got to let them experience the joy of relationship with the father. And you can't live no more like you ain't never been pregnant. You've been pregnant. You got a baby, and you don't need no whole bunch of babysitters either. Stay home, do some homework, learn how to cook, get yourself together, and quit waiting on somebody to help you. Get up and help yourself. Please. Please, I'm quitting. Don't worry. I'll move on to something else. You wouldn't want nobody to do you like that. You wouldn't want nobody to act like they ain't never had no child. And here you are, you acting like you ain't got no time for no child, baby. So I know you're young and I know you want to have fun. I know what it's like, but somebody's counting on you. I know you had a hard life, and I know nobody told you you can't keep handing out samples without getting something in return, but if somebody's counting on you, you got to learn, baby, that you know if you're gonna do the crime, you're gonna end up doing the time. Do I have somebody here? Nudge your neighbor and say, he's sure telling the truth. I wish he preached like that all the time. I wish he'd just smoke us up, because we need to come to ourselves, because we didn't come to play games. We came in here to fight. And if you don't want to fight for yourself, fight for the generation that's coming after you, because they're not guilty of what you've been guilty of. And here you, oh God, I better stop. Somebody has to speak to our community and command it to be fixed. And stop being impressed with folk who are not responsible. He might be cute, but he won't work. Yeah, everybody want him, but you shouldn't want him. I came up in the 60s and 70s, and there was a song by Gene Knight that was called Mr. Big Stuff. And would you listen to some of the words? I know all the girls that I've seen you with. I know you broke their heart one by one, a bit by bit, but you made them cry. Many poor girls cry when they try to keep you happy, just couldn't keep you satisfied. Then she said, I'd rather give my love to a poor guy that loves that's true, oh yeah, than a fool around and get hurt by you. Cause when I give my love, I want love in return. Oh yeah, when I know this is a lesson, Mr. Big Stuff, you hadn't learned. Then she say, Mr. Big Stuff, who do you see? You already know who you think you are. I'm not gonna give up my life for somebody who ain't gonna give their life up to me. This ain't no game. If you coming into my life, know what you're getting. Let me tell you what you got to fight for. I'm not just going to be your next stuff. I'm going to be your main thing. I don't know who I'm talking to. Go ahead and slap your neighbor high five and say, I got too much to be cheap. I don't know if you got to make good decisions about who you invite in your life. You got to decide who's going into the next chapter, because everybody that show up ain't ready to battle. The text says that the Midianites subdued the children of Israel. The Bible says that they sinned against God, and God had caused the Midianites to take them into captivity. And the Midianites, instead of killing them, they decided to starve them. And God, because they cried out to God, God sent Gideon, called the least of the smallest tribe, and says, I'm going to use you to deliver them. And Gideon began to call for those who would come out and fight against Midian. The Bible says 33,000 Israelis showed up to fight against the Midianites. He thought he had an army that would stand against them, but God says, wait a minute, you got too many. God says, I can't give you the deliverance. I'm going to put them in your hand anyway, but I can't put them in your hand while you got all these people in your hand, because they'll claim victory for something that I'm going to do. See, what God is saying, that I can't give you the victory until you get certain people out of your life. You got too many people that you dependent on. Until you learn how to depend on me, I won't do nothing for you. See, I'm going to give you a victory anyway, but I got you held up until you decide who you're going to give praise to for getting you out. Because see, you depending on somebody else for your rent, and I've been telling you all the time, if they leave, I'll still pay your rent. You've been wanting them, you've been giving them credit for keeping you above water, but every time you needed gas, wasn't I the one that somehow allows you to get the gas? Honey, they wasn't around. And God says, if they leave your life, I'll still bless your life because I'm your, oh God, I wish I had some. You got too many. You got too many that you're depending on for you to depend on me. This is what you ought to do. You ought to tell the fearful to go home. Oh God, I don't know if I'm going to have time to preach this. There's some people you ought to give permission to leave. Tell them. And can I tell you, you won't have to put them out. Just be real about what the game is that they come to. Tell them that, I'm a little bit crazy. You tell them now, I get an attitude. See, the reason that they're staying is because it's too easy for them to stay. You got to tell them, say, if you're going to stay with me, every now and then I need you to kick in instead of trying to get back. If you're going to stay with me, know that I got a problem. My credit bad. I don't like to work. I'm looking for somebody who want to work for me. I'm not looking for no man I got to take care of. I'm looking for a woman who's able. Okay, that's wrong. I'm looking for somebody who's going to be a blessing. This is what you ought to do. Tell the fearful to go home. It is better. Some of you have spent all of your life thinking that the thing you have in your hand is critical to your need. God says, I can't bless you as long as you're holding it. You got too much stuff you're holding on to for me to bless you. Oh, God. If you would trust me, notice in the text, God says after 22,000 leaves, 10,000 remains. Look at what happened. God says, take them down to the water and I'll separate them. Take them to the place where I direct you and you won't have to decide which one's going to stay. I'll put you in a situation where you don't have to worry about it. Those who are with you are going to reveal themselves. And God says, those